Mike, you know, sometimes people can't afford necessarily to get the nice in-ear monitor systems or whatever, but for those guys that do want to take steps to begin to preserve their hearing and make sure that they're protecting themselves for the long haul, what are some things that you could recommend for them to do?
For lower budget, you're talking.
For lower budget?
Lower budget. Well, the hearing protection itself, I mean, people have tried, many people, foam plugs, they're cheap and all that. The problem with those devices is that they take out more high end than low. So for a drummer, you know, maybe the snare drum's reduced and sounds pretty good in your kick drum, but the cymbals are gone, right? There's no sizzle, and so it makes it difficult to play effectively. That's why the high fidelity hearing protection is an option. Now there are two types. The custom earphones are actually a series of filters you can exchange with a custom mold. The retail price varies, but usually you won't find them much more expensive than $150 a pair. For some people, that's still budgetarily a little too out of their range. So there's also something called an ER20, which is a one-size-fits-all piece. And it's also hi-fi, and they usually retail $15 to $20. So I'm assuming that most drummers should at least think their hearing's worth 15 to 20 bucks.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, I mean, I personally use the Prophonics 2X. I have loved them for a long time. Tell some people some of the things that maybe about that product and the 3D, which is something I'm going to be trying out soon. How does that differ from, you know, the competitors, and what makes that?
Before we get into that, or even if we don't get into that, let me say this.
Okay.
In-ear monitors, and the 2X is an in-ear monitor for those that don't know. We make a series of these products, and they can be used properly to protect hearing, but actually it isn't the product.
True.
It's the behavior with the product. And that's the real problem with in-ear monitors. We've done studies at Vanderbilt that showed that all the musicians in this study turned their ear monitors to the same level as their floor monitors. Because you get used to hearing at a certain level, you're going to turn that the same way. So when you put an in-ear monitor in and you've been marketed by everybody that, hey, this is hearing protection, it really isn't unless somebody has a way to validate how loud are you listening. Mm-hmm. So we have a device called a dB check that you can plug our ear monitors into, and it reads out a dBA level and how many minutes you can drum safely. You don't have to change anything, but at least now you have the knowledge to make a choice. Do I turn it down or not? So I think really the importance is the behavior with any ear monitor. Our ear monitors we make different than others in that we use silicone material rather than plastic. Silicone seals the ear better. Nobody makes plastic earplugs. They make soft, pliable ones because they seal better. The better seal you have in the ear, the better chance you have to reduce levels if you choose to do so. If you have loose ones that leak in sound, even if you wanted to turn them down, you won't be able to.
Trying to turn them up.
Because everything's competing with you. So,
well, there's a comfort factor too with the 2X and the silicone. I mean, I know rehearsals I have or gigs I have can be all day long sessions. I use mine for studio sessions.
Yeah.
So the silicone being a lot softer feels good in your ear for a longer period of time.
Absolutely, and that's the design, part of the design. It's a very super soft silicone. The nice thing about it too is that it doesn't shrink or tear or discolor, so it really is a long-lasting product, and it protects the transducers inside as well.
The dB thing you mentioned, that's something that I know a lot of church environments that I'm in, they have a lot of people on in-ear monitors. That could be something the actual church could invest in to make sure they're doing their job to protect.
And they're small devices. Look at it, it's very small.
Mm-hmm.
They're affordable. They're $300 retail, and really you would only need one if you wanted to do individuals each day.
Right.
Or if you wanted to do everybody at once, you could have a bunch of them. But basically you plug your audio in, your source in here, and it can be any source. If you want to wear it while you're listening to it, then you can plug your earphones in the other side and it passes through. It'll give you a dBA reading and then how many minutes you can listen there safely. So it really is a perfect guide for protecting your hearing with in-ear monitors, and the only way to really tell if you're using them safely or not, whether you want to.
Sure. Okay, for a wish list, the 3D, Prophonics 3D, the ambient system. I know as a drummer, we like to hear what the drums are going to sound like actually, you know, from standing in front of the kit or wherever you're at. The ambient sound that the 3D is going to give you, those guys are saying, I want to get the best you got, Mike. Tell me about the Ambient system and how it works.
Well, it was first developed because many of the musicians with these isolating ear monitors, which now allows you to potentially protect yourself, lose the feel of a room, the spatial feel, the localization of where everything's coming from. So typically what they do is pull one out. Even putting ambient mics in a room doesn't allow you to doesn't make up for the localization and spatial problems you have. By pulling one ear monitor out, that's probably less safe than not wearing any, because this one is now, the ear that's in is going to have to be turned up at least 6 dB louder to make it sound as loud as it did when you had two in.
I noticed singers doing that a lot.
Right. And so then you have the open ear still getting bashed on stage, and this ear is actually being turned up louder. So I'd almost think that your hearing preservation would be better off without any than using one.
Right.
But we saw it so often, we thought, what do they want? Well, they're missing these spatial cues. So we added microphones, little miniature mics inside the earpieces that sound natural, just like you have nothing in your ear. And then you can reduce that amount of sound and blend it in with your in-ear mix, so you have the best of all worlds.
It's got a separate pack, right, where you adjust that level?
It has a separate pack that you adjust that level, and 4 dB steps, you can turn it down, but not affect the fidelity acoustically of what's going on. So it's like not having anything in your ears, and yet you have all the benefits of in-ear monitoring.
Fantastic. Well, you guys can check out all of these products at sensaphonics.com. It's on the screen. And Mike Santucci, his biggest thing, which I love about it, is hearing preservation, just making sure that we're actually protecting our most important instrument and component of what we do, and that's our ears. So check it out at grooveisking.com. There's a link there, or you can go straight to sensaphonics.com. Check out all the stuff that Mike was talking about today. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.